I'm David Scandura.
I'm Justus Arquette.
And today we're here to find out, is Ravenous the greatest movie ever made?
Manifest Destiny. Westward Expansion.
Welcome to the greatest movie ever made, the show where we watch a movie and tell you if it's the greatest movie ever made.
Bourbon break.
A movie that is so thoroughly entertaining and compelling that while you're watching it, it's the only thing that matters in your frozen, barren waste of a fort somewhere in the wilderness.
In the western Sierra Nevadas. Yes. We're in Donner Party land, which is, not an accident. This film is in part inspired by the events of the Donner Party. So we are, of course, in the Sierra Nevada mountains of California.
Yep. Perfect place to get snowed in during a long winter and get a little hungry.
That's right. We are doing this movie because it is wintertime, although you wouldn't know it in Flagstaff right now because it has been unseasonably warm.
It's been unseasonably warm for the last few years now, my friend.
Of climate change.
Because of the ravages of climate change.
Yes, turns out in 1847, winter was just colder, and now it's warmer 200 years-ish, almost 200 years later, because we're killing the planet.
But we have had snow. There's snow on the peaks right now, and they opened Snow Bowl early.
That's right. Yeah.
So,
we're slowly killing the planet.
Yeah. It's a little bit slower.
We're a ways off from there being no snow whatsoever. That's probably another. That's our children's generation's problem. Not that you or I are ever going to be parents. I'm sorry, I shouldn't assume. I'm not going to be a parent. Yes, Ravenous is the film that we're here to talk about today.
Yeah, I'm David Scandura, joined as always by my co-host Justus Arquette. Mm-hmm. And we should just get this out of the way right now.
Yeah.
Would we eat this? That's just this whole movie. This whole episode is going to be that.
It's so funny that you did that because I was also planning on doing that. Just doing the top of the episode, would we eat this?
Yeah, just blanket statement.
Right. Much like the blanket statement at the beginning of the Mad Max Fury Road episode where everyone in this movie is a disgusting shit person except the models. Just blanket, would we eat this for the entire movie? David, would you eat human flesh?
Abso-fucking-lutely.
Right.
That stew that Robert Carlyle makes at the end out of Knox looks delicious.
Yeah, and then the general is like going back for seconds, and I'm like, yeah, I get it, dude. And he doesn't even know there's people in there. I would be going back for seconds knowing there's people in there.
Yeah.
You put that stew in front of me, unlike Guy Pearce, who's having like a moral crisis about it. I'd be like, fuck yeah, dude, you didn't even have to stab me. I was gonna do it.
Yeah. We'll talk about the violence in this movie.
Yeah.
Real missed opportunity to have just like a glorious shot of some dude just gnawing on a leg. Like, we don't get a whole lot of bone nibbling in this.
That's true. Yeah. We get some. I would say this movie is very bloody. There's a lot of blood and gore in this movie. But yeah, nobody is chewing on somebody like they're a fucking Renaissance turkey leg.
And even like Boyd, Guy Pearce's character, eats Reich off screen, basically.
More or less. But there is one really nasty shot before we cut away, which is sort of this movie's MO, is they give us like one really nasty shot.
Yeah.
I think that it's like, it speaks to the restraint of the director, which is a thing that I also have other stuff to say about.
Yeah.
Anyway, this has been Would We Eat This? Anyway, but before we actually get into the movie itself, we did need to do the part where I ask you how you're doing. How you doing, David?
I'm not doing so hot, and that's all I'm going to say about that. I'm continuing to be bad.
I'm sorry that you are continuing to be bad. I hope, as I said to you in a text message, your spirits are lifted soon.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Perhaps if I eat a guy.
Yeah.
Because Robert Carlyle was like...
He was like, I was suicidally depressed.
I was depressed and suicidal. And then I ate a guy and I felt better. And I had tuberculosis. That's a little too Irish.
You're kind of giving him an Irish accent.
Yeah, it's a little
He
Irish.
is Scottish.
Yeah.
I was suicidally depressed. He doesn't really have that Scottish accent though.
No.
He's got a light one. He's
Yeah.
got like a subtle one.
Yeah.
But maybe you just got to eat a guy. I'm sorry. I hope that things are on the up, and even if they aren't, I'm here for you regardless.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's nice to hear.
Yeah.
I don't have anything else to recommend. I don't know. I don't really enjoy things anymore.
Oh, well, that's not good. That's bad.
I recommend staring at a brick wall
Yeah.
in total silence
Yeah.
and think about the vastness of the universe.
You watched Kill Bill: The Whole Bloody Affair in theaters? How'd you feel about that?
I did. I mean, it's.
Did you enjoy that experience?
I did.
Good.
Kill Bill is my favorite Quentin Tarantino film, and I think the cut that he released to theater, the Whole Bloody Affair cut, has a few changes that aren't like essential.
Yeah.
I think overall the experience is improved, and it was nice to watch those movies again.
Yeah.
My hot take is Kill Bill Volume 2 is superior to Volume 1.
It's been so long since I've seen those movies, and I wasn't able to catch them with you in theaters because I've been busy as fuck. But it's been so long since I've seen those that I have a suspicion that when I revisit them, I will feel the same way, even if I didn't necessarily the last time I watched them. I just kind of think the way that my preferences have changed since the last time I viewed those movies would maybe make me a part 2 guy at this point.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's one that I am excited to go back to when I finally get the chance. It's just hard to carve out those 4.5 hours. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the good thing is you can watch them separately. I just
Right.
always end up watching them back to back,
Yeah.
or like the next day I'll watch part 2.
Right. Yeah, I couldn't even complete a fucking Lord of the Rings trilogy watch this year.
You haven't watched Return of the King yet.
I know, which is insane. I did watch in like April. I watched Fellowship of the Rings and the Two Towers, and then I just never got around to Return of the King. So I think I have to start over at this point. I don't think I can just watch Return of the King now. I think I have to watch Fellowship and Two Towers again.
Maybe.
Because it's been like, I don't know, like 6 months or more.
I think if you snuck in a Return of the King by the end of the year, you'd be good.
Okay.
If it went any further than December 31st, you'd have to start from the beginning.
Okay, yeah. So within a calendar year, I'm good.
I think
Okay.
so.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'll try and hit that before New Year's Eve then. Anyway.
No shade though, because watching Kill Bill in a theater, even with the intermission, was really long, and I was there till like 11:30 at night.
Yeah.
And there was a guy sitting in my row who got up during intermission and like was talking to somebody, and he's like, "How much longer is this thing?" And apparently he didn't know the movie that he bought a ticket for.
He was just like, "Yeah, I bought a ticket for this Kill Bill thing. Never heard of it."
And he was
I like Uma Thurman. I guess she's in movies again.
he was just like shifting in his seat and leaning over in different ways and during the second half of the movie trying to stay awake, but he toughed it out. So
yeah.
Good on that guy. A bunch of people left. Like there's this thing I've noticed where, because our theater has assigned seating now, people will buy the best seats ahead of time. They'll reserve them ahead of time. Then they'll show up late to the movie, or they won't show up at all.
Uh-huh.
And then it's like I remember going to see Predator, and we had to buy seats in like the first or second row because all of the good seats had been taken. Like it was literally completely blacked out on the seat selection screen. And then like 30 minutes in the movie, I kind of glanced over my shoulder, and there was like room. Like there was a decent chunk of empty seats that had previously been reserved.
Because people just didn't show up or just left?
Something like that. I don't know.
So these are the people that you should be eating to cure your
think
depression. You gotta eat one of these seat stealers.
There were
who's
also
stealing the good seats and then not even using them.
There were also a couple of guys who were talking when I walked in, like talking during the advertisements, not even the trailers, just like the commercials, and reacting to them. And I was like, okay, these guys are going to be talking during the fucking movie. I know it. Yeah. And they talked through like the first 90 minutes of Kill Bill. Yeah. Not the most disruptive. Like they talked every once in a while. And like reacted to stuff, which I think is okay. It's just hard when there's like reacting to something in a movie when there's 12 people in a theater versus like a packed house. Yeah. Is kind of different.
Right.
But they left. Like They left like 90 minutes in the movie too. A bunch of
That's
people
weird.
just got up during intermission and didn't come back.
Huh. That's bizarre.
I don't know.
Yeah. Whatever.
And then Quentin Tarantino has a Fortnite ad that he put at the end that he directed, which is just great.
While he's out here talking shit on fucking Paul Dano and Matthew Lillard,
Right.
he's also just shilling for Fortnite.
Right.
What is this guy's fucking problem? What is his fucking problem? I love some of your movies, man, but you gotta chill the fuck out. And lay off Matthew Lillard. He's a sweet boy.
Oh, he's going after Matthew Lillard too?
Yeah. Apparently Lillard caught some strays from Tarantino. I'm not going to say lay off Paul Dano because the whole world has said lay off Paul Dano. You know, my voice is just adding to the chorus at this point. But I am here to definitely champion my man Matthew Lillard. You can't talk shit on Matthew Lillard's name in my house. Not in my fucking house.
It's insane to call those two wonderful gentlemen some of the worst actors in the industry when fucking Gal Gadot is right there.
right. If you're gonna talk shit about someone, QT.
How are you doing?
Although I don't necessarily know that I would love Quentin Tarantino talking shit about any woman, even Gal Gadot. Maybe it's best that he is reserving this for other white men.
I definitely don't think we need Quentin Tarantino commenting on women.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm doing good. I'm busy. I'm quite busy, as I previously mentioned, and I'm a little stressed out due to the busyness, but I'm still doing pretty good. Looking forward to hopefully things slowing down a little bit around the holidays and taking a little break before the new year when things will immediately kick into high gear because I have to travel and shit.
Why are you traveling?
I'm going to a conference. It's like have we not talked about this?
We can cut this out if you want.
No, yeah, it's fine. We can leave it in. I don't care.
You told me you were going to Newfoundland for a conference, but I don't know what conference it is or how it relates to your job.
Shakespeare Theater Association.
Okay.
It is a global but mostly North America and Europe association of Shakespeare theaters who meet for an annual conference, and there's a bunch of seminars where you can learn about theater administration, and it's basically like continuing education for people who professionally as their job like run Shakespeare theaters, right? So it's like, there's like business seminars about like the business side of things. There's artistic seminars. And the reason I'm going is because the executive director of the festival that I work for really wants me to go to this seminar about quick raise, which is also called Renaissance runs or Ren runs, which is basically when you do a show with only like a couple days of rehearsal and then you perform. Because normally like you rehearse for like 4 weeks in a modern, that's how modern shows are put up. But in Shakespeare's day, it's like, the actors got together and they rehearsed for like 3 days and then they did the show. So the practicon, the like seminar thing, that my boss really wants me to go to is about how to do like a quick raise, like Shakespeare style run. So yeah, I'm mostly going for that.
Is this your first time going?
Yeah, I've never been to one of these conferences before. I've worked for the Shakespeare Festival for about 3 years now. But they've sent other people that I was coworkers with, but I've never gone. This is my first time going. And my boss is saying that like she's sort of making me go against my will, which is not entirely true, but I am a little bit of a homebody, so it is a little hard to get me out of the house. And I also have a little bit of PTSD from my former job where traveling for work was not fun. But I'm sure this will be a positive experience. And I am looking forward to it. Travel just always stresses me out.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's how I'm doing. I don't think I have anything to recommend. I mean, not really. Yeah. Nope. Yeah. I'm coming up blank this week, so we'll just skip it.
Okay.
Actually, I guess my media recommendation is Ravenous, the film Ravenous from 1999, because like, I think like I don't know your feelings on the movie yet at all. But I am just gonna come out the gate and say I quite enjoyed this movie. I had a real good time watching Ravenous 1999, and I am going to recommend it to our listeners, regardless of what my verdict is. I do think people should watch this movie.
Yeah,
because I knew that this was like the cannibal Western. I didn't expect it to also be so funny and so gay.
Oh, exceedingly gay.
It's so gay. This movie is homoerotic as fuck.
This is
In a way that I was really not expecting, especially because it takes about an hour to get homoerotic. And then like once it does, it's really homoerotic.
it starts teasing it early though.
Yeah,
There's a lot of
right.
foreplay.
Yeah, well, right, when they're on the passive Cara dress and they have their little heart to heart. Yeah.
I've been watching the Terror.
Yeah.
I picked that back up. I guess that could be a recommendation. I haven't finished the show yet. I have one episode left that I haven't found time to watch it yet.
Yeah.
That's also like a wintry survival story that it involves men being pushed to their limits.
Right.
And sometimes that also means they come out of it a little gay.
Right. Big, hairy, greasy, stinky men who are also kind of gay.
Yeah.
Much like this movie, yeah.
Yeah,
Although
yeah.
not big. There's a lot of little lean guys in this movie, with the exception of pedophile Jeffrey Jones. Noted pedophile.
The scariest thing in this movie is when Jeffrey Jones's credit shows up.
I
in
would
the
say
opening credits.
Truly the scariest moment in this movie is when Jeffrey Jones offers Guy Pearce a walnut and then walks over to his wall of books and goes, "This is my hobby." And I was like, oh, I really don't want to know what's in that book if it's Jeffrey Jones's hobby. And then he's like, "I learn languages." And I was like, whew.
Do you want to see my photographs?
Yeah, I was like, I don't like where this is going.
Actually, no, the scariest thing in this movie is Jeffrey Jones coming back.
Yeah, right.
It's like, oh no.
Right, the return of Jeffrey Jones.
The pedophile isn't dead.
He's risen from the grave, younger and more powerful. Now he can crush walnuts with his bare hand. Yeah, it's like, oh, superpowered Jeffrey Jones. Yikes. I mean, obviously, fuck that guy, that literal pedophile.
He's dead now, isn't he?
Is he? Is he? I know he was serving prison time. Did he die?
Let's look.
Jeffrey Jones.
No, he is not dead.
He's continues to live. Is he still in jail? He's probably still in prison, right? Let's see. Personal life, legal issues.
Oh.
Yep, child sexual abuse materials. There it is.
Oh, look at that rough-looking mugshot.
He looks like shit, doesn't he? It looks like he's free. It looks like he walks among us because he was last arrested in 2010 for failing to update his sex offender status, and he was sentenced to community service and probation. But I assume that means he's out.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, it looks like he was in Deadwood the movie in 2019 after all of that shit happened. How are you going to put how are you going to put Jeffrey Jones in your project after all of the shit? What are you thinking, Deadwood the movie? Yikes. Anyway, you know. I do not endorse anything about Jeffrey Jones, of course. Quite good in this movie.
Yeah,
unfortunately. Unfortunately, I think he is pretty great in Ravenous.
yeah.
Great cast in this movie.
Really good cast.
I love...
A cast of 90s people who you don't see anymore.
Yes, right. Because we obviously have Robert Carlyle in here. We got Guy Pearce in his second Western on the podcast. Because he was also in The Proposition. Doing a very similar thing in The Proposition.
Yeah, he's damaged and doesn't say a lot.
Yeah, in The Proposition, I would say The Proposition is maybe a little bit of a harder edged version of what he's doing here, but it's more or less the same thing.
Yeah,
it's pretty much the same territory.
You can see how haunted he is just looking in his eyes.
Yeah, and he's really good at that. He's good at it in the proposition, and he's good at it here. What's his name? Like Neil McDonough, the guy who's playing
Neil McDonough's in here.
Yes, Private Reich or Sergeant Reich or whatever that guy is.
Yeah.
I like that they were like, we have the most Aryan-looking motherfucker in existence. Yeah. This guy's name is Reich.
Yeah. Yeah. David Arquette's here.
Yes, welcome back to the show after only an 8-episode break, David Arquette. Last seen in, of course, Scream 3. Now back with us for Ravenous.
And Jeremy Davies plays Private Toffler, who's the chaplain.
Yeah.
Who would probably be best known for his role in Saving Private Ryan.
Right. Yeah. Toffler has some... There's something going on with this guy.
There's something going on with most of these guys.
Right. There is something going on with all of them, which is a thing I love about this movie. I love... so I said that, at the end of the last episode, because we were going into this movie relatively blind, because neither you or I had seen Ravenous before.
Correct.
I said we were going back to Centurion territory. I was not aware the degree to which that would be accurate, considering much like Centurion, we have a group of dead meat dudes who are all played by fabulous character actors who all have a thing that they're doing, much like in Centurion.
And they all get killed pretty quickly.
Yes, but I would say the edge that this group of dudes has over the dudes in Centurion is that the movie gives all of them a little bit more than Centurion
Yeah, I
does.
think so.
Yeah.
I remember Centurion where they're all sitting around talking about their backstories, and it's like, I don't give a fuck about any of this.
Right.
Can we move on?
Yes.
And this is instead... It just gives them little bits and memorable moments to do.
Yeah.
Like when you're introduced to Neil McDonough's character and Jeffrey Jones is rattling off the list of people, he's bathing in a river, shirtless, screaming his head off. It just cuts to him and he's like, "Rah!"
That is one of my biggest laughs of the movie. This movie is oftentimes quite funny, intentionally. And one of the biggest laughs is Jeffrey Jones being like, Sergeant Reich, and then it just cuts to Neil McDonough being like, ah! It's awesome. Great character introduction. And also Toffler's thing, where because he's the chaplain. Private Toffler is the chaplain at this fort up in the Sierras, and he's trying to write his own hymn. That's his side project. Is that he's as an aspiring composer, and so he's trying to write a church hymn, and he just sucks at it. The melodies he's coming up with sound so whack and so bad. He's having trouble finding rhymes and shit.
He's also just a weird little rat freak.
This guy has school shooter energy.
Yeah.
And also, in addition to the school shooter energy, the movie, I think, quite wisely does not put a fine point on whatever it is. But there is something going on with this guy that is maybe he maybe is not all there. You know what I'm saying? And it's we're not going into Jeremy Strong in The Judge territory or Adrian Brody in The Village.
Right. It never becomes problematic.
Right. Because the movie chooses quite wisely to not address it. But there is something up with this guy that is not being addressed or handled because it's 1847.
Right. And I think it's easy enough to kind of chalk it up to what Jeffrey Jones is talking to Guy Pearce about when he arrives at the fort.
Right.
About how this place is the last fort on the edge of the wilderness.
Right.
The last stop for travelers.
This is basically where they send all the fuck ups and people that they don't want to deal with.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so everyone's a little bit off the deep end.
Right. Jeffrey Jones's thing is that he's a philosopher. He's not really interested in being a military man. He wants to read Aristotle and shit. And then the doctor is a fucking alcoholic who just gets drunk on the medical bourbon all day and night, all these guys are just a band of miscreants and roustabouts,
Right.
Yeah.
Before all that,
Yeah.
Guy Pearce is given a medal for his service in the Mexican-American War.
Yeah.
And it's revealed, but through flashbacks, that essentially what happened was he
He played possum.
He played possum. He
Yeah.
played dead. He had a panic attack in the middle of the battle.
Yep.
And lay down on the ground and was drugged behind enemy lines by enemy soldiers, and was thrown on a cart carrying a bunch of bodies.
Yeah, and like the half-destroyed face of his commanding officer was like pouring blood into his mouth as he was like laying beneath him,
Right.
pretending to be dead.
And somehow,
which is a really compelling, like it's really compelling when Guy Pearce is telling the story, and also the visuals that accompany it I think are fantastic.
yeah, there's like a long tracking shot down, panning down the pile of bodies as it gets to Guy Pearce.
Yeah.
And the blood starts dripping into his mouth. It's a great setup for some of the horror elements in this movie. And then he somehow finds the strength, because apparently in this movie, being cannibal makes you strong.
Because this is a secret vampire movie.
Yeah.
That's what this movie is.
Yeah.
Robert Carlyle, I would like to congratulate you on being the second best Dracula I've ever seen in a movie. Number one is Bela Lugosi, of course. I mean, respect to the king. But I think Robert Carlyle in this movie is my second favorite Dracula of all time.
He's cowboy Dracula.
Yeah, he is. He's Scottish frontier Dracula. Yeah.
And then he captures the fort.
Yeah.
So that's why he's sent to this fort, because the general is suspicious that he was a coward.
Right. He's basically like, yeah, I have to give you this medal because it'll look bad if I have you shot, considering you captured the enemy position single-handedly. But, like, I know how you fucking did it, you little rat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the editing in this scene, coupled with the music and then the opening credits,
Yeah.
really sets up the tone of this movie in a way that I wasn't expecting.
Yes.
Because we're getting like quick cuts of these this long banquet table of soldiers ravenously devouring
into
these
hunks of meat.
yeah, devouring these giant steaks. And it's cutting really quickly back and forth and emphasizing them cutting and the blood coming out of the steaks and stuff like that. And then it's cutting to Guy Pearce being disgusted by all of this and going to go throw up.
Yes, and Guy Pearce barfs title card Ravenous, which I think it's so rad that the title card just swoops in on a shot of our protagonist throwing up.
The title card literally swoops in with a little whoosh sound effect.
Which I want to know if Damon Albarn also did the whoosh effects, or if that was somebody else. If Damon Albarn and the other guy who composed the score, whose name I don't have in front of me, but or if there was maybe a sound designer who was on whoosh duty.
Yeah. And we probably get some of Damon Albarn's score, the score starting here.
Over the credits, for sure. Yeah. Oh, even at the beginning, like the first shot of the American flag, you get the Albarn and Michael Nyman score. I looked up the other guy's name. And right away, you get, like, even from that first shot, when the music kicks in, you get what the musical thing is going to be in this movie, which is like, I was spending some time reading the Wikipedia page after I finished this movie, because I was quite interested in learning more about it after watching it. And they said, like, Damon Albarn and Michael Nyman said that their intention with the score was to take traditional religious hymns and patriotic songs and twist and distort the melodies so that they sounded a little off to the ear. And you get that, like, from the first shot of the American flag.
Yeah.
It is like a patriotic, like, 19th century song that sounds like just a little wrong.
Yeah, and it's they're using folk instrumentation, but there's also a lot of looping and electronic synths as part of the score here. And it's weird and bouncy and all off-kilter and kind of comical at points.
Yes, and it fits, I think, the tone of the movie so well. And foreshadows the tone of the movie so well.
Yeah.
Because before you even really get into the weirdness of this movie, the score is kind of leading you there. The score is kind of like, this is what to expect from Ravenous, you know?
Yeah, it takes a while, or it took me a while to settle into the tone of this movie.
Me too.
And the music is part of that, because there are also times where it has more of a serious, dramatic, kind of traditional score vibe to it. But that's also butting up against the more bouncy off-kilter
Right, and then there's
songs.
sometimes when we're doing a cannibal chase with Robert Carlyle, and there's jaunty fucking banjo and fiddle going.
Right. but that's a perfect example. We do like the jaunty banjo bluegrass thing when they're chasing Robert Carlyle.
Yeah, it's
and
literally like Robert Carlyle like stabs a guy with a knife and then runs off into the woods, and it's like bow bow bow
and then, you know, a few minutes later in that scene when it's like when Guy Pearce has tracked him down to the edge of the cliff, then the score becomes a lot more dramatic and traditional.
Yes. Yeah.
So there's stuff like that happening all throughout this movie. Also with the humor and the writing, which we'll talk about too. Kind of keeping you on your toes and moving back and forth between different tones.
Yes. I like that the score sort of is the thing that lets you know that this movie is going to start taking some big swings. And then like the movie takes big swings. And so it feels earned. Like the sort of disparate tones of the disparate modes of the score feel earned by the time credits are rolling, because you're like, yeah, no, that score fit that movie that I just watched.
Right. And I wasn't sure what to expect with this movie because I had heard about it. I had wanted to see it for years. I probably heard about it back when I was getting into Westerns in high school, and a cannibal Western sounded cool to me.
Yeah.
And this came out in the 90s. It definitely has a bit of a 90s feel to it.
For sure. Yeah.
And also, like, we were doing horror Westerns in the 90s.
Yeah.
And I feel like the two ways a horror Western could go is either make this very gritty and violent and serious and dark and treat it like Blood Meridian.
Yeah, right.
Or,
the Bone Tomahawk path.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or go the From Dusk Till Dawn path and make it more over the top and comical and in genre and schlocky. And this finds this strange, weird little medium between those two tones.
I think that's a great comparison. I think picturing this as the midpoint between From Dusk Till Dawn and Bone Tomahawk is pretty much right on the money. Right? Where it's like, we're not going full camp, but we're also not up our own ass.
Right.
You know? And I like Bone Tomahawk, but it is a little up its own ass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, like, this is violent and disturbing at points, and it's also just goofy and silly.
Yes, and, like, it knows it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, like, Guy Pearce, disgraced, gets sent to the worst assignment in the American military at the time, which is this fort in this pass in the Sierra Nevadas that all these settlers moving to California have to pass through during the good season, like the spring and summer. But for the winter, they just like staff it with a skeleton crew,
Right?
Just to make sure that it doesn't fall into disrepair. Basically, it's pretty much like The Shining. Like they basically send him to be the manager of the Overlook Hotel, kind of
Essentially.
And he is sentenced to the worst fate imaginable, which is he has to report to Jeffrey Jones, who kind of has like a lax control over this situation. It seems like this guy doesn't really he doesn't have a lot of authority here. He, David Arquette is fucking smoking weed, and the doctor's getting drunk, and Jeffrey Jones is like, I kind of don't give a shit, Like, they're going to do what they're going to do. We're all just trying to survive.
Not enough David Arquette in this movie.
I agree, especially considering he's third billed.
He is, yeah.
Because he had heat coming off of Scream.
Right, okay.
Yeah. And Scream 2, which had already come out by this point.
Because he's absent for most of the first act because he's like going to town to get supplies or whatever. And then once Guy Pearce returns after the massacre, David Arquette is not long for this world.
Right. But he is in the movie more at that point.
He is. Just when you forget about him, he pops up on screen and does something silly for a second and goes away again.
Yeah, I'm happy to see him in this movie.
Yeah.
Also in Bone Tomahawk, David Arquette.
Oh, right.
Speaking of Bone Tomahawk.
Is he?
Wait, isn't he? Isn't he the other guy with Sid Haig? Who's the other guy with Sid Haig? I thought it was David Arquette.
At the beginning of the movie.
Yeah. Wasn't it David Arquette?
Let me look. Yeah, okay, he is credited in Bone Tomahawk.
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. It's him and Sid Haig at the beginning.
Okay.
And Sid Haig eats shit, and then David Arquette makes it to town and, like, warns them about the cannibal mutant people in the hills.
Okay.
Yeah. I feel like he's maybe not in this movie as much as I would like, but anytime he pops up, I'm like, I like what he's doing. I just love seeing him. 1999 David Arquette, yes, please. So yeah, and we meet the whole cast of characters who we mostly talked about. The exceptions that we haven't talked about yet are George and Martha, who are two Native American characters.
Mm-hmm.
In typical Western fashion, there's a couple of Native American characters, filling out the corners of the narrative, not really centered in the way that maybe you would want. But I do think that this movie does a better job, and I'm not, I'm a white person, so I'm not like an authority on this, but to my eyes, this movie does a better job with its indigenous characters than some Westerns I have seen. Bone Tomahawk being a great example.
Yeah.
But some others too, right? And I think the thing that I like about the handling of George and Martha in this movie is that the director of this movie, by the way, I think this is only the third movie we've ever covered that's directed by a woman, which is fucked up.
We did Elaine May's Mikey and Nikki.
Oh, so maybe the fourth.
What's the other one?
So we've done Girl Walks Home Alone at Night.
Okay.
And Love Witch.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So maybe this is the fourth.
Okay, I think that would make sense.
Which is again fucked up. We should maybe do a month of women directors or something. But Antonia Bird, directed this movie, an English director.
She was brought on 3 weeks into production, replacing the original director
by Robert Carlyle,
yes,
because he had worked with her before. The original director was fired by the studio, and then they brought in a replacement who the cast apparently did not like. And the rumor is that the cast staged a mutiny against the director, who was the director of Home Alone 3, that they had brought in. And so because the cast wouldn't work with this director, Robert Carlyle was like, hey, I know somebody great. I just worked with her on a film not too long ago. And they brought in Antonia Bird on Robert Carlyle's recommendation. And so she had 10 days of prep before they started shooting the movie.
Yeah, she did not have a great time shooting this either.
Yes.
Because she was brought in last minute. Yeah.
Yes. But I think that the urgency of this movie might be a product of sort of the director's kind of frenzied, I gotta get this shit done. Because you were talking about the quick cuts earlier in the opening scene.
Yeah. This
movie, I think, uses quick cuts in a very interesting and pointed way that it took me a while to settle into, but once I kind of locked into the movie's mode, I was like, I kind of really like what she's doing here because, and I don't know how much of this was Antonia Bird's direction or how much of it was up to the editor, but the way that they let scenes really breathe when things are a little calmer in the movie. And then as Guy Pearce's character, as Lieutenant Boyd, is feeling more anxiety and stress, that's when the edits get quicker consistently throughout. So it becomes a way that you can kind of, in addition to Guy Pearce's performance, it's a way that you can kind of clock his mental state and how much stress he's feeling is just how quickly the image keeps shifting perspectives. And I was like, that's dope, and I love that. And it kind of reminded me of action movie directing, in a way, even though this movie's action sequences are pretty understated. Like even the final fight is like not like a bunch of choreography, but it adds a lot of like urgency and tension to stuff just through the editing, which I kind of appreciated.
Yeah, this thing's like an hour 40, and through the editing and the pace, it whips by.
It really moves.
And
this
I
movie
was
moves.
I was taking notes. I was also a little distracted today because I finished work, put this on. I had to make dinner in the middle of it, so like I had other stuff going on, so I wasn't fully devoting my attention to this movie. And I did rewind a couple of times because things just move so quickly that you turn away for a second, you might miss something.
Yeah. But a thing I was talking about before was George and Martha, the two indigenous characters, and a thing that I think helps this movie's portrayal of indigenous peoples who have not always been treated great by the Western genre is that Antonia Bird talked about when this movie was released that one of the things she was thematically saying with this movie is cannibalism as a metaphor for American colonialism and the genocide of Native Americans. And I was like, I feel like the director's intent to say that what Europeans did in this country was like destructive and bad and depraved and disgusting in the same way that cannibalism, that we view cannibalism, right, comes through in some empathy behind the camera for these characters. It feels like George and Martha get a little bit more of a fair shake than a lot of indigenous characters in Westerns because you can kind of feel the director's intent toward them in a way.
Yeah, and I think this script very easily could just be genre schlock.
Oh,
and
totally.
And you can even watch the movie and get that out of it if you want. Like, this is a pretty cut and dry mashup of horror and Western that has some quirks to it.
Yeah. But if you want like a bloody frontier slasher, this works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If that's all you want out of this, then it's here. But there are other things going on.
Yeah.
And the Manifest Destiny commentary is part of that.
Yeah.
I also want to just shout out the actress playing Martha. Her name is Sheila Tousey.
Yes.
She is a Native American actress who's been in several things, but what I know her from is the television show Into the West.
Oh, cool.
And she's fantastic in that. I recognized her immediately.
I think she's fantastic in this.
Yeah.
I'm glad you called her out because she was one of the standouts for me. And she was also one of the people where I was like, I kind of wish there was more of her in the movie, but I also appreciate this movie keeping it tight, And I'm like, if there was time for more of anything, though, I kind of wanted more Martha.
I also kind of like that, like, especially at the end, when Robert Carlyle and Guy Pearce are dying in the barn or whatever.
Yeah.
She's sort of like, these fucking white people in this Wendigo shit, I'm getting out of here.
Yeah. Well, I like that when she gets an opportunity to leave the movie for a little bit, she's like, yes, I will please leave this movie because this is some fucked up white guy shit. I don't know what's going on, but I don't want any part of it.
And earlier Guy Pearce comes to her and he's like, how do I make this stop? And she's like, you're fucked, dude. Sorry.
You just gotta die, bitch. Yeah, I do love that. And I like that things end well for Martha. That's also a point in this movie's favor. But yeah, I really like this performance from Sheila Tousey. I think that she's great in this.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I like that George is like sort of, because they're, I think, brother and sister, I think, is their relationship.
I'm not sure, but it could be.
I believe Jeffrey Jones says that, but I could be wrong.
Okay.
But regardless, I kind of like that Martha's sort of she's like the smart one, and then George, her brother or whatever, is like kind of the fuck up, and all he does all day long is just get stoned with David Arquette, which is just a fun dynamic. I like that David Arquette's like, yeah, like, I'm in the military, but like all these guys, all these other army guys, I don't really get along with. This guy though, and his fucking pipe, we can hang.
It's cold and boring out here. Let's get high.
And these guys are fucking bummers. They're buzzkills, dude. Jeffrey Jones wants to talk to me about Play-Doh. Fuck off. I'm gonna get stoned. Yeah. We're introduced to this group of misfits, and then Robert Carlyle shows up.
Yes, out of the snow.
He just appears in a window.
Comes Robert Carlyle.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love him appearing in the window, and then us just cutting to we're discovering him in the snow, because for a little bit I was like, okay, is this going to be the thing where the fort's being menaced by Robert Carlyle, and he's like a specter for a little bit,
right.
And it's like, no, right away we're just like going and finding him. That is one example of a much bigger thing with this movie, which is every time I thought I knew what this movie was going to do next, it did something else, which I thought was great. Because initially I was like, oh, is this going to be like kind of a siege movie where he's like the cannibal hunting them, picking them off one by one?
Yeah.
And it's like, no, it's not that. And then like when Guy Pearce gets trapped, when his leg gets broken, and he's has to eat Reich, I was like, oh, is this going to be the movie where it's Robert Carlyle menacing him while he is like trying to survive?
Right,
like kind of the Revenant situation.
Cat and mouse, most dangerous game kind of thing. Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
Yeah, and then it's not that either. Like the movie just keeps twisting and turning on you in a way that I really liked, because I was like, I don't know what to expect from this thing. And I appreciated that greatly about this script.
I wish we got to the movie doesn't let us get there, but I really wish we got to the point where we start munching on some travelers,
right,
and we just see their operation.
Well,
roping in travelers and eating them.
That would be Ravenous 2, right? The twist with Ravenous 2 would be like, Robert Carlyle wakes up in the bear trap and eats Guy Pearce, and then we get a Ravenous 2 situation.
I think it's simple. I think he explains the plan to Guy Pearce.
Yeah.
And then we fade out, and then we get a little title card 6 months later.
Yeah.
And we just montage through them eating people set to like push it to the limit. And they're like counting money in a back room and like stealing cargo and goods.
Yeah.
And like luring people into the I think you could do that perfectly.
Right.
And then where do you go from there? And I guess you just make it more gay.
I guess so. Yeah.
You just get really gay with it.
Do a whole like interview with the vampire thing where maybe they can adopt a little girl. She's a cannibal now. Yeah.
Yeah. Don't let her around Jeffrey Jones though.
Oh shit.
keep him far away.
Yeah. Maybe actually let's not introduce any children into this property. Good point. Robert Carlyle shows up. He's in rough shape, and they patch him up, and he's basically like, yeah, so I was with this group of people, and what he describes is basically the Donner Party story. Like it's pretty much the exact historical events that led to the Donner Party, which is like some fucking asshole who thought he knew better than literally everybody else who had ever done it was like, I actually got a shortcut through the mountains. And the shortcut was longer and worse, and they got stranded, and they ran out of food, and they ate all of the livestock and started, boiling their shoes and chewing on the shoe leather. And when that ran out, they just started eating each other. And he is, Robert Carlyle's character in this is a composite character of one of the survivors of the Donner Party, who because when the Donner Party actually happened, they were the rescue parties would go and get some people from the Donner Party and bring them home to safety, but they couldn't get everybody all at once, so they had to make multiple trips back and forth, which took weeks. And one of the last journeys that they did, there were some people left. And then they, brought home who they could. And then they went back and there was one guy. And he was like, they all died and I ate them. And the historical consensus is basically that guy just murdered everybody else. And he
was there cannibalism happening before that last trip?
Yes, it had been happening.
Yeah.
Mostly it only happened when people died of natural causes. Like
Right.
people would freeze to death and then they would be consumed.
And that's how it starts here in this movie is the
Yes.
first guy dies naturally, and then they're like, getting hungry,
yeah.
so they cook him up.
But the historical consensus is like that last guy who they like left and there was like 3 other people with him and then they came back and it was just him and he was like, oops, they all died. It's like, no, they probably didn't. Like he probably started getting a taste for it and sped things up on his own.
Yeah,
you know?
which also happens to the character in Calhoun's story.
Right.
The Captain Ives.
Yes. And yeah, so he's Robert Carlyle's character is a composite character of that guy, and then another famous cannibal from American history, whose name I don't remember right now, but was like traveling with some people and ate them too. And that's kind of what he's describing this Colonel Ives guy as.
Yeah, Alfred Packer.
Alfred Packer, that's that guy's name. Yeah. Famous American cannibal. Cannibal the Musical is also a very, very loose adaptation of that guy's life.
Have you seen that?
No, I have not. I'm aware of it. I haven't seen it.
I've wanted to see that too.
Yeah.
I think for a while I got Ravenous and Cannibal the Musical conflated in my head.
Yeah, this one's not a musical, unfortunately. It'd be great if Robert Carlyle broke into song. Much like, Headmaster Savage from Anna and the Apocalypse, he is chewing some scenery in this movie.
He's chewing more than just the scenery.
Right, yeah,
He's chewing the actors.
Chewing the actors. He's chewing the grips. He's chewing the best boy. Don't let Jeffrey Jones near the best boy, though. Anyway. But yeah, so he tells his story. He's basically like, yeah, I was traveling with all these people. We got stuck. We all started eating each other. This guy, Colonel Ives, who was the military guy who led us the wrong way, he was a real bastard. He started, kind of speeding things up and eating people, out of more than just necessity. He got a taste for it. And it got down to where it was just me, Colonel Ives, and this other woman. And I did the cowardly thing, and I ran away. And immediately, I love that you immediately see Guy Pearce feels a kinship with Robert Carlyle, because he's like, oh, he's a coward too. And like, I understand this guy because like I played possum and like let everybody get killed. And like this guy like ran away and let this woman get eaten. And it is kind of like, I love that the camaraderie in this movie is kind of among like scoundrels and cowards.
Yeah.
And rat bastards,
Well, and Guy Pearce is silent for large stretches of this movie. I think up to this point he said like one word of dialogue, and it's not until they leave camp to go head to investigate the cave to see if that woman is still there, that he has any more dialogue. And it's when he asks Robert Carlyle what it was like to eat a man.
Yeah, and he's like, did you feel different like physically afterward, is what he wants to know. Yeah.
And he does play it with this kind of this vulnerability and this he feels something towards this other person and like is trying to understand him.
Yeah.
And this is where we start getting some of the gay shit in this movie.
Yes. Gay shit complimentary, to be clear. I like the gay shit in this.
I like the gay shit in this movie. Robert Carlyle describes eating another man using the word virility twice in this movie.
Yeah.
That's some gay shit.
Yeah. I want the thoughts of someone smarter and gayer than I am about the gay reading of this movie, because I feel like I can identify that there is a lot of not just homoerotic stuff, but also sort of like there's like analysis that can be done here, and I just don't feel equipped to do it because I'm not gay,
Right.
And I'm like, I really want to read the opinions of some gay people about this, like gay men specifically about this movie, and because I don't think that it's like problematic or bad necessarily. I think that there is just interesting stuff that can be mined from this movie, and I'm just not the person to do it.
Yeah, there's interesting stuff it's also subtextual.
Yeah.
And you can also kind of interpret it whatever way you want. That's something that Antonia Bird said when she was talking about the movie, that like Robert Carlyle's character can be seen as a metaphor for any type of addiction.
Yeah.
At least the quote that I read wasn't bringing up the LGBT interpretation at all. So maybe that's not something that she was aware of.
Right.
But
it kind of feels like maybe that's in the script and she's doing more of the like critique of colonialism and like addiction and stuff like that or something. I don't know.
I think it comes through in maybe there's some of it in the script. I think it comes through in the performances.
It's in the performances for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah. And maybe that's just because it's impossible not to have sexual chemistry with Robert Carlyle. And Guy Pearce just has the saddest, like, most harrowed eyes of all time.
He has a puppy dog face.
Yes, yeah.
Like a kicked puppy dog.
Right, so it's also sort of impossible to not be in love with him in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
so you just put two guys that it's impossible not to be in love with on screen together, and it's like, well, obviously there's tension here.
But the movie that I was thinking of while watching this the most was A Nightmare on Elm Street 2.
Yeah, right.
Because I think the gay subtext has a similar... takes on a similar form in Nightmare on Elm Street 2. I think it is similarly interesting and possibly problematic in ways that I don't fully feel equipped to explore.
Yeah.
Because Freddy is an antagonistic character in that movie, but he's representing kind of some sort of suppressed feelings that the main character is going through.
Right.
Robert Carlyle's sort of doing the same thing.
He is.
And they have a conversation later where, you know, Guy Pearce is struggling with being a cannibal, and they start talking about morality.
Right. And he's basically like, oh, like, forget morality. Doesn't it feel so good to just like do the thing that you want to do?
Yeah. Just be yourself. Just embrace who you are.
Yeah. Right.
And I suppose we could talk about like Interview with the Vampire, which we've already mentioned.
Right.
Which is exceptional, like much gayer than this.
Oh yeah, well, but that's
extremely gay.
Yeah, and that's like sort of the intention with Interview with the Vampire. Like that was like sort of that's authorial intent as opposed to a potential side effect of like the time that it was made or whatever, right? And I don't know if there's authorial intent with the gay subtext in this movie or not, but it's there. And yeah, I agree with everything that you said, and I think the Nightmare on Elm Street 2 comparison is a good one. But much like Nightmare on Elm Street 2, I think any angles where you could view the gay subtext in this movie as problematic don't really bother me. To be clear, like a straight guy, you know, so I'm not really in a position to be bothered by it necessarily. But they don't really bother me. It doesn't really bother me because it feels like the movie is leaving it open enough that it doesn't just have to be the bad reading. You know, you can also be like, no, there's other lenses to view this through.
Right.
You know,
right.
And also much like Nightmare on Elm Street 2, the camp also sort of saves it. You know, because it's like with Nightmare on Elm Street 2, you could be like, well, this is like homophobic.
Nightmare
and then
2,
it's so camp that you're like, can anything this camp be homophobic?
Nightmare 2 gets dangerously close at
it
moments.
It does.
In a way that this movie doesn't.
In a way that this movie avoids.
Yeah.
You're right. Anyway, yeah, that's all. That's that on that. I don't know. Fucking the dork ass chaplain falls down a mountain, cuts his side open, and they're all camping in the middle of the night, and Robert Carlyle's sucking on his wound. Oh, also, sorry, I do have to call out. I love the costuming in this movie. It's a period piece. We're in the 1840s, so we got a lot of great like old ass army uniforms and stuff. But the piece de resistance of the costume design in this movie is in the scene where Guy Pearce and Robert Carlyle are talking about cannibalism on top of the mountain, because they have these like big mountaineering goggles, which are basically sunglasses to like protect their eyes from the glare of the snow. And I think this is a real historical thing, these mountaineering goggles. But yeah, just picture like steampunk goggles that are sunglasses.
Yeah, they look very silly.
Yes. And so Robert Carlyle in this scene is wearing like this big ass like duster coat and then these huge fucking sunglasses goggles and then the world's largest brimmed bowler hat. And he looks fucking insane in this scene. Anytime, like, because it's a pretty serious conversation that they're having, and it's, like, pretty important to the movie. And anytime they cut to Robert Carlyle, I was like, he looks wild. It's an awesome visual.
My favorite costume choice in this movie is Neil McDonough's bare chest.
Yeah, right.
Because this man cannot put a shirt on to save his life.
He's also has the palest white skin of all time.
Well, yeah, because he looks like a Nazi.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure this guy would glow in the dark.
And he has blue eyes, but his eyes in this are like electric blue.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
look like someone gave him contacts.
Yes, he looks insane in this movie, especially when he's dead and smiling. that image is like haunting in a way that I really like. But yeah, before we get to Neil McDonough being dead, we find the cave. So they patch up Toffler, the chaplain, and we make it to the cave, and
they restrain Calhoun.
Yes, he insists on being restrained.
he
He's
makes
like, I
up-
can't control myself.
like,
It
I've had a
happened in a
nightmare.
dream.
Yeah.
So they tie him up. Reich's being a real Nazi, just like tugging at him and pushing him and shit. And they find the cave, and then they Reich and Boyd go into the cave and find all of the remnants of the cannibalism that happened there. But then Reich's counting the bodies, and he's like, hey, he said that there were 6 people in the party. There's 5 bodies in here. That only leaves 1 person unaccounted for.
Right,
you know?
right.
So, and they realize like, oh shit, Calhoun did all this shit.
I love this sequence.
It's great. It's tense. It's scary.
It builds tension so well.
Mm-hmm.
Part of it is Robert Carlyle's performance.
He's being so weird in this scene.
He's acting strange as they get closer to the cave, like he's been like driven to madness. And then once they go into the cave, he starts menacing the chaplain.
Yeah. He's like doing like weird little hand gestures
Yeah.
at him. It's really bizarre. And then he starts like digging in the dirt like a maniac, and you're just like, what the fuck is this guy doing?
And everyone's separated because Reich is lowered into a lower part of the cave, Boyd's in the upper part, and then Jeffrey Jones is outside.
Yeah, with George and Toffler.
Yeah. And we're just cutting back and forth as like tension is building and the music is going. And then right around when Reich puts 2 and 2 together that Calhoun killed all these guys, Calhoun digs up the knife that he buried.
Yes.
And attacks Toffler with it.
Yes. Yeah. And well, first he attacks Jeffrey Jones.
He attacks Jeffrey Jones.
First he stabs Jeffrey Jones.
Yeah.
And then like it's a knife with the straight sharp edge, but then the backside is serrated. So he stabs into him, and then he like saws up into his chest with the serrated side, which is really dope. Also just great to see Jeffrey Jones cut open even though it's fake. And like this is one of the moments of violence in the movie that does feel this movie has like some fun violence. Like when Robert Carlyle is telling his story about what happened to the party, you get some quick cuts of just like a guy getting stabbed in the back and blood shooting out of his mouth and stuff. And that's like kind of fun slasher violence. And then there's moments like when he stabs Jeffrey Jones and then like drags the knife up and kind of like saws open his chest, that it's still fun violence, but it also is like sort of like a shocking moment of violence in a way that you want from a horror movie that is more than just kind of goofy, campy gore fest. And like, I don't know, I was feeling it with this movie where like there were a couple things that happened in this movie where I was like, fuck, and that was one of them. Yeah, I think that the movie does a good job of balancing fun and disturbing.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely fun. when it's disturbing, it starts feeling like it's getting close to, doing frontier violence in a very gritty and serious way that not a lot of Westerns have depicted it.
Mm-hmm.
Even the revisionist Westerns of the 70s, stuff like Outlaw Josie Wales, they're more violent, but they're kind of violent in an over-the-top exploitation film kind of way.
Yeah.
Even, the Sergio Leone films. This feels a lot more realistic and kind of contributes to the themes of Manifest Destiny.
Yeah, and I also feel like the destruction of bodies specifically, because this is a movie centered around cannibalism, is a thing that, like, the way that the violence is shot is highlighting. Like, it feels like you get so many close-ups of what the knife is doing to the body, as opposed to it being like a reaction shot from the victim or like a wide shot or something. It feels like it's like, no, you see a lot of like ripping and tearing in a way that feels very, it feels very pointed, both with like both as a commentary on the inherent violence in Westward Expansion, but also like tying into all the cannibal stuff. Right. So Robert Carlyle dispatches Jeffrey Jones here, and then kills Toffler. He stabs Toffler, and George throws an axe at him, and he like uses Toffler's body to block it, and then shoots George. Yeah. So he's gotten all three of them, and
it's a really great bit of action, like a really great coordinated sequence.
And the stunt guy, the stunt double for George, just taking a header off this little cliff above this creek. Great shot.
Yeah.
This dude falls. It's pretty rad. But yeah, and then so Reich and Boyd then give chase, right? Because they come out and see Calhoun in like full cannibal mode. And then there's like the jaunty banjo chase, which weirdly reminded me, not weirdly, you'll understand. It reminded me of Last House on the Left.
Yeah, I was sort of feeling that too.
Because the music is so peppy and we're like having a good time. And what is happening is so fucked up that the dissonance kind of makes the movie work in this on this weird level where you're like, I'm both fully immersed and fully detached right now. Like,
but if I was if I was chasing a cannibal, through the woods, I feel like that would be the music that's playing.
I also kind of feel like the jaunty banjo is happening in Robert Carlyle's brain.
Yeah,
like that's his music, and to the point where like when he disappears, when they lose him, the banjo music goes away, and then when he pops back up, it starts again because it's like his theme. Yeah, because he's having a great time. He loves this shit, But yeah, so he chases, he gets Reich and Boyd to this cliff, and then he like pops back up, and he throws George's axe at Reich, and Reich falls off this cliff spectacularly. And then Robert Carlyle and Guy Pearce are on the cliff, and it's just the two of them. Everybody else has been dispatched, right? And this is the moment where I was really noticing how the quick cuts were being used in this movie, because it's like so many quick cuts from Guy Pearce's face to Robert Carlyle's, and like multiple angles of them, and it really gives you it really puts you in Guy Pearce's head, because he's like panicking. He's like, what the fuck am I gonna do? I'm cornered. And I just really like this as an ending to the sequence. The score is also going off here. Michael Nyman and Damon Albarn are fucking cooking on this in this movie. And then Guy Pearce just jumps off the cliff, and it's so sick. This moment rules.
Yeah, he catches a tree and just starts hitting every branch on the way down.
Yeah.
And
a real thing that can happen, a real way you can survive a fall, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, and we're cutting back and forth between some stunt guy going down this tree and like Guy Pearce's face.
Yeah, and also like Guy Pearce, once he hits the bottom of the tree, starts rolling down this hill, and this is some fucking Princess Bride level rolling down a hill. We are rolling and rolling down this hill. They're just like they go for longer than you think possible. And then he runs into Reich's body, and then that starts rolling with him. I like that he grabs Reich and is kind of using him to break the fall a little bit down the hill. Just kind of a moment where you get to see Guy Pearce thinking on the fly,
Yeah.
And then him and Reich like slide into basically this like little ditch that has some like tree branches covering it, right? And Reich is initially like suspended upside down, and there's like a fun like slasher movie jump scare where Reich isn't quite dead and he like comes back to life for a second and just starts strangling Guy Pearce, presumably just because his brain is damaged and he's just attacking the nearest thing.
I don't know, like his he's got this, he's covered in blood, he's got this crazed expression on his face.
I mean,
he's been played so far as this insanely macho, toxic kind of guy.
Right, he's like a murderous asshole who is in the military because he likes killing.
Yeah. And they've all been treating Boyd like shit, basically.
Yeah, Reich especially kind of seems to have a chip on his shoulder against Boyd. So yeah, maybe he is knowingly trying to kill him just as a final fuck you to this guy.
Yeah, but it's a really scary moment.
Yeah,
and really cool. And then he dies.
Yeah,
and
Reich falls and is dead.
Yeah,
and then like there's this prolonged sequence. It starts out by like Robert Carlyle coming down, and there's a really tense sequence of Robert Carlyle kind of walking by where Guy Pearce and Reich are covered by these tree branches, and Guy Pearce is like, oh, does he see me? Because if he sees me, I'm dead. Guy Pearce, Boyd, has broken his leg on this fall, and there's a bone sticking out. We get a lot of great like shots of this bone just jutting through his leg. So he can't move, and he's just trying to stay quiet. And you as the viewer kind of get the impression that Robert Carlyle maybe knows he's there and is choosing not to do anything. At least that's the impression that I was getting, where I was kind of like, it seems like maybe he is, because there's a moment where he like stops right in front of where Guy Pearce is hidden, and it is just like silhouetted by the tree branches, and then like walks away. And I was like, I think that moment is him knowing what's happening and just letting it play out.
Well, okay, this is my favorite sequence of the movie.
Yeah.
This is this montage that happens here.
Yes. Where the direction and the editing show you that like days, potentially weeks are passing in a way that is so ambiguous, and I really love.
And even the images that are shown to us, the way the order that events happen in, it's unclear what is actually happening and what is happening in Guy Pearce's head.
Right.
Because this is, I think this sequence is showing us the mental state of this guy who is like, he's fearing for his life against this crazy cannibal that he just ran into.
Yeah.
And he's delirious and starving.
Yeah.
And thirsty.
Yeah. And his leg's broken.
And we cut to like the moon.
Yes,
and we hear
there are shots of the moon in different phases.
Yeah.
So it seems like, again, potentially weeks are passing. Yeah.
We have a lot of sound effects of wolves howling. We hear laughing, just like Robert Carlyle laughing just off in the woods.
Yeah.
It's really harrowing, and it's when the movie started working for me.
Me too.
I was like, I think I get what this movie is now.
Me too. Before this sequence, I was kind of like, okay, cool. This is like a weird, quirky little movie. And then in this sequence, I really locked in. Where I think part of it too was the Guy Pearce resetting his leg moment in this sequence, because he does it. You see shots of the bone sticking out of his leg, but then when he actually resets it, the leg is off screen and it's all sound design, and it is so squishy and crunchy and gross. Like, they really don't spare any detail on the sound design, and I was like, this feels like this is the movie's two modes kind of blending together perfectly, where it's sort of like, oh, the subtle artistry of the grittier version of this movie is like, we're not showing the thing, but also this movie's kind of like camp slasher tendency is like, but we're gonna give you all of the sounds.
Yeah,
I really loved it.
And Reich's face is frozen in that horrifying smile.
Right, which may or may not even be real.
And
that might
his-
be in Guy Pearce's mind.
Right, and his eyes are still open.
Yeah.
And Guy Pearce starts talking to him.
Yes, which I was like, that's really when you know you're fucked, is when you start talking to the dead guy.
I mean, it's such a great combination of elements to show you what's going on in this character's head. For
Yeah.
a character who mostly has to do a wordless performance in this movie.
Yeah. It's rad. The sequence rules. And then the sequence ends with Guy Pearce making the decision. And I love the flashes too, because Martha has at this point explained the legend of the Wendigo.
Mm-hmm.
After Robert Carlyle shows up and tells the cannibal story, Martha is like, hey, there's this thing that some people that we know from up north, not us, because I like that this movie has the wherewithal to be like, indigenous peoples of the Californias didn't actually, that the Wendigo isn't their legend. It's an Algonquin legend, which is more Canada and the east coast of the U.S. So I like that Martha points that out. She's like, this isn't like our shit, but like we know about this, you know? But she sort of tells the legend and has the like drawing the painting of the Wendigo. And I like that as Guy Pearce is making the decision to start eating Reich, there's like flashes of flames and Robert Carlyle's face and then the Wendigo painting happening. And I'm like, I fuck with it so much.
Yeah, it's similar to some of the stuff in Altered States. But you know, maybe not as out there and experimental.
Yeah, a little subtler,
like,
but yeah.
I love how atmospheric this sequence is.
Yeah.
And it relies so much on just editing images with each other.
Yeah. And then we don't get Guy Pearce, you know, chomping on a big ham hock, but what we do get is him driving a knife into this dead dude's leg and peeling up a big old piece of meat, which I was like, fuck, that is so gross. It really rocks. It's good.
Gross.
Well,
delicious.
To be clear, I would eat it. I would maybe want to cook it first.
Okay.
I don't know if I would eat raw human flesh.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I would definitely eat that.
I don't know.
steak.
You never unwrap a steak or take a steak out for the fridge and look at
You
it
know?
all red and white, and you're like, this looks good now.
I have eaten tatar, so I have eaten raw beef before, and I continue to eat tatar. If I see it on a menu, I usually order it because I think it's a delectable dish. But yeah, you know, I feel like I would maybe need to like chop it real thin, get a little quail egg in there, maybe some capers or something, and then I would eat the raw human flesh. But just like off the leg like that, I'm not sure. Give me some toast rounds, you know what I'm saying? I'm a classy gentleman. Yeah, so and that gives him the strength to like get up and get out of the ditch. And then he shows back up at the fort, and this is another moment where I'm like, well, now I don't know where this movie's going, because I thought that this was going to be a cat and mouse thing with him and Robert Carlyle in the woods. I didn't expect us to ever see David Arquette again, you know? And yeah, he shows back up at the fort and tells his whole story. He's basically like, yeah, Calhoun killed everybody. He's a cannibal. It was him the whole time. And then fucking asshole general from the beginning of the movie comes back. I love this guy. whose main function in this movie is to dress down Guy Pearce twice and then eat some human stew at the end. Not knowing that there's people in it. But yeah, he's dressing down Guy Pearce again. He's like, I think you're a real fuck up. You gotta get your story straight. None of this shit makes sense. I got 4 dead men and no clue what happened. And he's like, oh, by the way, and here's the guy that I brought in to replace your commanding officer, Jeffrey Jones, who is now dead. And in walks Robert Carlyle. And I was like, this movie is fascinating.
Yeah.
I am obsessed with this narrative choice.
Yeah.
Where it's like, no, you think Robert Carlyle's maybe going to be absent from the movie for a little bit. And it's like, no, now the thing is it's like sort of a weird domestic thriller where they have to live together as like monster and victim. You know? I'm obsessed with it. I love it.
And the other guys at the fort either weren't there for when Calhoun showed up, or they didn't see him long enough to really like identify him.
I love that the doctor is the guy who got the best look at him, because the doctor was treating him when he came in. And the doctor's like, nope, I remember that guy having a beard. That guy doesn't have a beard. Because he was just drunk off his ass the entire time. He doesn't remember shit.
And I don't think David Arquette was even there. I think he had left before that.
Yeah. Okay, right, because him and George went off to like get some supplies or something. Yeah. And so... And like Martha is kind of suspicious, And so as soon as the opportunity comes up to leave, Martha's like, yeah, I'm out of here. Because, like, yeah, I am pretty sure that he's right, and that guy's a fucking cannibal. I'm pretty sure one of these guys is a cannibal, maybe both of them. I'm not fucking with this shit.
Yeah, because Guy Pearce does go to Martha, and he's like, so I got this Wendigo thing going on. How
Yeah.
do I stop it? And she's
she-
like, you got to die.
Yeah, she's like, the way to deal with that is fucking kill yourself. But yeah. Right. So then begins the movement of this movie where it's like Robert Carlyle psychologically torturing Guy Pearce in a very homoerotic way, which I love all of this stuff where he's like gaslighting him and and being like Guy Pearce, like there's a moment where Robert Carlyle's reading a book in front of the fire and everybody's just sitting there, like Martha's like sharpening an arrow and everybody's got like a little task they're doing, and Robert Carlyle closes the book and the sound of the book closing sets Guy Pearce off because he's on like a hair trigger and he like pulls a knife on him and Robert Carlyle's like, well, seems like somebody's very tired or whatever, like seems like somebody needs some rest. And I was just like, that is Robert Carlyle's very cunty in this section of the movie, which I really appreciate.
Very true.
Yeah.
He is quite cunty in this. I like the scene where I think the general is still there because Guy Pearce is
yeah.
this is the
That's the
cannibal
cannibal,
guy.
right.
I just told you the story about the cannibal.
Yeah. And he's like, I shot him in the shoulder.
Yeah. So they have Robert Carlyle take his shirt off and he's like he's got this smile on his face while he's doing it, like what's going on? And then he makes a joke to the doctor about, like, he makes a turn your head and cough joke to the doctor. I'm like, this motherfucker is gay as hell.
Yes. And he like really melodramatically reveals his second shoulder in a way where he knows what he's doing.
He doesn't take his shirt off so much as he does like do a striptease.
He does a striptease. Yeah. He's like doing it in an unnecessarily sexy way. And I was like, I'm obsessed with this. And it does seem like he is doing it to like flirt with and also torment Guy Pearce. I love it. I'm obsessed with it. Yeah. So like all this psychological torment is happening. That's basically this whole movement of this movie is basically just like Calhoun / Ives just gaslighting the shit out of Boyd.
Yeah. And Boyd has this fantasy about killing and eating cleaves. That's really great.
I like that moment too. Yeah.
Because he hasn't eaten human flesh since
Reich.
Reich. So it's like it's clear that, or it becomes clear that like the hallucinations he's experiencing and like the state of mind that he's in is because he hasn't eaten anyone. Because like when it takes him a while when he finally eats the stew at the end, it's like, oh, he feels better now.
Yeah.
He's
right.
Like, but right now she's like dealing with paranoia and trauma, and it's just like,
yeah, I like that. Like even the makeup for not just Guy Pearce, but like Jeffrey Jones too, and Robert Carlyle. It's like you can kind of see when these guys are at full strength from consuming human flesh versus when they're like a little bit diminished, you know? Because this movie does treat it. They basically have vampire rules where it's like you have to feed to be at full strength.
right.
And like when you are fully fed as a cannibal / Wendigo spirit / whatever, you are sort of superhuman. And if you haven't fed in a while, you're like sickly, you know? And I like that Jeffrey Jones at the beginning of the movie, before he becomes a cannibal, is a little grayer and a little bit like more, he feels a little bit more frail. And then when he comes back as a cannibal, it's like he looks younger, you know? It's a touch I really like.
Yeah.
I like the supernatural angle to this movie
I was just gonna ask because like this is it sort of is part cannibal movie, part vampire movie, and kind of blends the two.
Yeah.
Similar to how it blends the tones. And I wasn't sure how I felt about the supernatural aspect of it because I was sort of like I was going back and forth, and I was like, why not just make it a vampire movie?
Right.
Because I was kind of looking forward to like a grittier, straight up cannibal movie.
Yeah. Right, and
But-
then this ends up being a little bit more camp and a little bit more gothic and romantic in
Right.
a lot of ways.
But it doesn't go over. It doesn't fully go over into like full genre schlock territory. It's
Right.
sort of like, again, it kind of finds that middle ground.
yeah.
But you like the supernatural stuff?
Yeah, I like that. Initially, I thought, oh, this is just going to be like a grounded cannibalism movie where it's just about eating human flesh. And then as soon as they brought in the thing where it's like, no, we're bringing in the Wendigo spirit legend,
Yeah.
but also we're kind of making it our own, because I don't think the Wendigo spirit legend has anything to do with like you gain the power of the person you consume or like it heals you or anything. From what I understand of that folklore that I admittedly am like not an expert on. I don't understand that to be an element of it. So I think that that's this movie's sort of invention is like, yeah, it like heals you and cures your depression and, you know, makes you younger and more virile and stuff. I kind of like that, especially when the movie kind of spells out that the metaphor that it is setting up is cannibalism as a metaphor for westward expansion and colonialism and American genocidal violence, right? Where it's like, yeah, in order for this fledgling empire to come to power, it had to like consume all of the people who already lived on the land that it absorbed, right?
But some of that to me is the Dracula myth reappropriated to the American West, and
Yes.
I think knowingly it is.
Yeah, and I think that the reason to make this a cannibal movie instead of a vampire movie is because the cannibal is a better American surrogate for that than the vampire. I feel like the grotesquerie of feeding on the flesh as opposed to the romance of drinking the blood fits better with our nation's history of violence. You know what I'm saying?
I think so. Okay, yeah, I see what you mean.
Yeah.
And I think as far as the Wendigo aspect, I don't think I think this white person. So like again,
Right. Yeah.
grain of salt.
Two white people speaking on the Wendigo here. So
I don't think it discusses it in a way that to me reads as offensive. I think it's a light spice to this movie.
Yeah.
And it also never says that like Robert Carlyle is a Wendigo. That is just how the Native American characters are interpreting this guy based on the myths and the legends that they're aware of.
Right. They're basically like people eating people. We have stories about this.
Yeah.
You know, and not even we know people who have stories about this, you know? But yeah, I agree. I think that like it's a light spice and it is just another lens that this movie uses to examine, sort of its main thematic point, which is that like, America taking over an entire continent was fucked up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think I came out of the other side of this movie liking the supernatural aspect more than I initially did. But if anything, it does leave me hungry for a Western that has a grittier take on cannibals.
Well, you can always watch Bone Tomahawk.
But Bone Tomahawk also gets into the kind of weird...
Yeah, that's weird. Pseudoscience shit where it's like human evolution gets brought into it in Bone Tomahawk.
Right. It's like we have to make the cannibals sort of Native American, but we also have to have a Native American character say, they're not exactly us. They're a weird cannibal tribe that S. Craig Zoller came up with to make this sort of a monster movie.
Right. They're not really human. They're sort of monsters, which is maybe even worse if you actually think about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting movie, Bone Tomahawk.
Maybe just give me a Donner Party movie.
Yeah. I'm sure those exist.
Eli Roth's The Donner Party.
That's a movie I would watch. I would watch that. He could stand to make a movie about white people eating each other to make up for Green Inferno. Because he did a racist cannibal movie. He should make a cannibal movie.
He should atone for that.
Right. That's about white people eating other white people. I do want to mention, because we've incurred the name of the Donner Party, and this is drawing from the lore. A thing that is fucked up about the Donner Party that a lot of people don't talk about is, I said earlier, mostly what the Donner Party did was eat people who had already died of natural causes. That only went for the white people. There were 2 Native American scouts who were helping the Donner Party to try to survive. And you know who the white people didn't wait to die naturally? Those 2 guys. They just fucking killed those guys. Straight up murdered them for food. And it's like, That's the thing that a lot of people don't talk about that story is it's like, yeah, when we say like, oh, Donner Party, and it's like, yeah, they ate each other. It's like, yeah, mostly they ate each other passively. They murdered 2 Native Americans who had nothing to do with this whole situation and were just trying to give them a hand, you know? Real fucked up shit. Anyway.
If you want Eli Roth doing white people on white people violence,
Yeah. Hostile. Yeah, you're right.
that's where you get that you get the class commentary, and you got there's a little bit of a racial element to it. Also, it's the horror is happening to men, and slashers up to that point primarily didn't focus on men as much.
Another thing I like about this movie, for a little bit in the third act, Guy Pearce really starts feeling like a final girl, which I really like. During the little chase at the end, the kind of slasher chase between Robert Carlyle and Guy Pearce, when he's wearing that sexy little sweater he's got on. I was like, he's kind of giving, you know, like Laurie Strode at the end of this movie a little bit.
I like that it's a slasher chase, but they also have sword fights during it.
Yes.
That's fun.
Yeah. It's pretty dope.
We'll get there. But
yeah, I mean, we're almost there.
Yeah.
Because basically what happens is, Guy Pearce is struggling with wanting to eat people. Him and Robert Carlyle have a little confrontation where Robert Carlyle has been doing the gaslighting thing, but then he just comes clean when the two of them are alone together. And he's like, yeah, you're starting to want it again, aren't you? And Guy Pearce is like, fuck you, like, I'm not like you. And Robert Carlyle kind of tells his backstory where he's like, yeah, you know, I was like dying. I had tuberculosis. I was weak. I was suicidally depressed. And then I just started eating people and it cured all my problems, dog. So like maybe you should consider it.
Yeah, you got the cure to TB if like 50 or 60 years early.
Right.
As someone who's played Red Dead Redemption 2, when he brings up tuberculosis, I'm like, they didn't have a cure for that in 1847.
Yeah. Right.
How'd you get out of that one, Carlyle?
Yeah. It turns out eating people.
Well, and to your point about the Donner Party, he mentions that he talked to a Native American, and the Native American told him about that's where he learned about like the legend of the Wendigo and eating the flesh of another man to consume his energy and life force.
Yeah.
And Robert Carlyle's like, so I killed him and I ate him.
Yeah. Which is right. Which is I think one of the moments in the movie where the themes start becoming clear. I don't think this is the scene. No, the scene's later where Robert Carlyle just says out loud, manifest destiny.
Yeah.
Westward expansion, right? But this is sort of leading into that scene.
Right. That scene is like announcing that this is the theme of the movie now.
Yes. In case it was not clear, what we are saying is maybe white people taking over a whole continent, bad. So he has this little confrontation with Guy Pearce. Guy Pearce is not sold on this. He's like, this is sort of the devil trying to tempt him, and he's resisting. And Robert Carlyle then he goes back inside because Guy Pearce in this altercation like cuts him. Because Robert Carlyle comes too close, and Robert Carlyle's like, "Oh, you smell my blood, don't you? It makes you horny. I mean, hungry." And so he goes inside to get patched up by the doctor. And while that's happening, Martha goes to look for David Arquette. Well, first they discover the horses with the heads cut off. That happens at some point.
Martha finds that the horses have been slaughtered.
Right.
She goes looking for Cleve, David Arquette's character, and they find him, I think, on the roof of one of the buildings.
Yes, I love how this reveal happens because Martha goes into the barn, all the horses have been decapitated, and then she goes up to the window and starts knocking on the window to get Knox, the doctor's, attention. And as she's knocking on the window, blood just starts dripping on her face. And you're seeing it from I think the direction in this movie is pretty phenomenal. You're seeing this shot is from the inside, kind of from over Knox's shoulder. And so through the window, she is right in front of the window, only her face is in light, and behind her is shadow. And then just this bright red blood starts dripping on her from above and streaming down her face. And I'm like, that is such a fucking compelling visual. I love that shit so much.
The violence in this movie is great. The gore and the viscera. I love the shot of when they find the chaplain's body, and his stomach's been carved open.
Yeah.
And we got guts everywhere.
Yeah, you have some intestines with David Arquette too. With this aftermath. Yeah.
What I really love in this movie is the blood. The blood looks so good.
Yes.
It looks like fucking Italian giallo blood.
This movie is kind of about blood in a lot of ways, in the way that a lot of vampire movies really center the blood. You know, it does feel like it's like, this is it's a big fluid movie.
Yeah, there's like a viscosity to it.
Yeah.
And a shimmer. It looks deep and rich.
It's delightful.
Yeah.
I really like the shot a little bit later when Jeffrey Jones's throat gets slit.
Yeah.
And then there's the blood on the window, and then you can see Robert Carlyle's face framed in the bloody window, and he's like a little out of focus. It's so rad. The blood looks great there too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Cleve is dead, and immediately Knox is like, well, the fucking crazy guy who's been saying Ives is a cannibal did this. He's the only one who could have done it. So they basically like arrest Robert Carlyle. And then this is where Martha goes to town, because Knox is basically like, hey, somebody has to go to town, and it's basically you, me, or Ives, because Boyd is locked up. And Martha's like, I volunteer. I would love to get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
So she leaves.
Robert Carlyle starts making stew.
Yeah.
And Knox is asking him about it, and we get obligatory cannibal jokes about how this guy is going to be eaten.
Yes, I love, right, because the joke is basically like, Knox is like, what are you making? And he's like, stew. And he's like, oh, do you need any help? And he's like, not right now, but I think later you might be able to contribute. Yeah. And the whole time, Boyd is like shackled in like an adjacent building, but the doors are open so they can kind of holler at each other. And Boyd's like, Knox, can you like yell at me so that I know you're still alive, please? And Knox is like, shut the fuck up, murderer. And then Knox is like also giving Ives shit, because he's like, you stole my sword, dude. I had a sword above the wall, or above the fireplace on the wall. And I was like, yeah, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about, man.
It might come back in the third act,
Right.
but you won't be around for that.
Yeah. And so then like Knox goes to like yell at Boyd or something. And while he steps out, we see Robert Carlyle kind of like swoop across the doorway with the sword. And then when Knox comes back, the other door is open, and he goes to shut it, and then Robert Carlyle just kills him. So then it's just the two of them, but not for long. Because this is the jump scare return of Jeffrey Jones.
Because Jeffrey Jones comes back in this movie.
Yeah.
And I think it might be, I don't remember exactly, but I think the implication that Jeffrey Jones killed Knox.
Yes.
Because he's been,
maybe.
he was the one who killed Cleve.
He definitely killed Cleve. Yeah.
Jeffrey Jones has been haunting this fort like I'm sure he haunted elementary schools.
He haunted the life of that poor 14-year-old boy that he victimized horribly. Yeah. It's not funny, but we can't not talk about it. He's in this movie. But he shows back up. And he's basically like, hey, turns out being a cannibal rocks, dude. Maybe you should consider it. Because I feel great. I feel young. I feel virile. You know?
Yeah. This is where more of the vampire legend stuff comes in, because it's an addiction, and it's something that like it's a compulsion that he has.
Yeah. And he's also like,
and he's sort of under the thrall of Ives a little bit.
Yeah. And it's also the thing too of like, the vampire thing is also, vampire stories are often about like building community, right? About how it's like, through this like kind of fucked up existence, you find other people who are living the same way and like latch onto them, and like they're clearly doing a little bit of that here. And Guy Pearce is still sort of resisting. So then this I think is where this is where Robert Carlyle gives the westward expansion speech. And he's basically like, hey, like, this is the way of the world, man. You gotta eat other people to become stronger. This is capitalism, baby. This is the American way, And It's a movie kind of stating its theme on its sleeve, like we've talked about, but I really don't mind it. I think it works at this point in the movie. And so then he's basically like, he gives him an ultimatum. He's like, hey, I'm going to fucking stab you. And he does. And then he's like, and we're going to cook up Knox, and you're either going to die or you're going to eat him and you're going to become one of us.
Yeah.
And I really like the scene where he cooks up the stew, and Jeffrey Jones is sitting there ready to snack on Knox too. And he's like, oh, this is so civilized. Because they're all just like sitting down for supper or whatever. And they're like, Robert Carlyle and Jeffrey Jones are both chowing down, and Guy Pearce is like really torn about it. And then I love the moment where he is like, there's like a close up on his seeping wound, and it does look really giallo. Like that's one of the ones where it's like bright red.
Yeah.
Like tempera paint red, you know? And then it cuts back to him and he's just like, fuck it. And then he just starts eating.
Yeah.
I love that moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yummy stew. Looks
Yum.
delicious.
And we would eat it, to be
We
clear.
would eat it. I was thinking about this. I think I would eat Knox stew before I would eat the psychedelic stew in Altered States.
Oh, for sure.
Which I did say that I would eat.
Yeah, yeah.
I definitely said I would eat that.
Yeah.
That disgusting looking slop.
Yeah.
But I think I would eat cannibal stew.
Knox
before
stew
that.
actually looks, you don't get a great look at it, but from the looks that you do get, I think it looks pretty good.
Yeah.
And also the general guy, he doesn't even know what's in it. The guy who comes in at the end.
Right.
And without even knowing that there's people in it, he's like, this is fucking delicious. I'm going back for seconds.
Yeah. That's what I want from Ravenous too, is that guy.
Yeah, right.
Being a
'cause
cannibal.
He's a cannibal now. Yeah. He's tasted of human flesh.
And he
he's
just
like,
he just spreads it to the rest of the army.
right. It's
And
the whole U.S. Army.
And the whole US Army becomes cannibals.
Yeah.
And then maybe Ravenous 3, we widen the scope a bit. And
Right.
it's just
And then we're in an alternate history
Yeah.
where the United States has just become cannibal nation. And we're having to like we're at war with all of Europe or something. It's
I
the
guess-
cannibals
well, I
versus
guess-
the non-cannibals.
I guess at this point then it crosses over with Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter.
right. Yeah.
A movie that I paid money to see in theaters, no less.
Was that any good?
I liked it at the time.
Who plays Abe Lincoln in that?
I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think I've seen it twice.
Mm.
I think I may have watched it since then, but I don't remember.
Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter. Let's see. Who plays Abe Lincoln in this? It is Benjamin Walker. Who's that guy? The fuck has this guy been in?
Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter?
Yep. He was also in The Heart of the Sea. And some other shit that
I want to see that. Cannibalism.
not
That's real cannibalism.
seen. Oh, is The Heart of the Sea cannibalism?
Yeah, if it's the one I'm thinking of.
It's Ron Howard movie.
Yeah.
There's
It's the-
cannibalism in that?
It's the adaptation of the real
Story that
shipwreck that inspired
inspired
Moby
Moby
Dick. And there's cannibalism.
Oh, shit.
Not at least in the real story.
Oh, fuck. Well, we got to eventually watch In the Heart of the Sea so we can see Chris Hemsworth eat some people.
Yeah.
Although I can't imagine Chris Hemsworth eating people is any sexier than Guy Pearce eating people. But yeah, so Boyd eats the stew and recovers some of his strength, and he's still chained up, but he's like more robust at this point. And then like him and Jeffrey Jones have a little chat. Where Jeffrey Jones is basically like, hey man, you really should consider Calhoun's point on this, Calhoun/Ives' point on this. And Guy Pearce basically is like, hey, but have you thought of all the people that you ate? Like, have you thought about like George and Toffler?
Right.
And Jeffrey Jones kind of has a moral panic, like a moral crisis where he's like, I've been blocking that part out. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, he flips on that pretty quickly.
Yeah. Right. It doesn't seem like he needed a lot to be sent over the edge. He was like, he was sort of
he's
like,
like,
yeah, I'm all in on this cannibal thing. And Guy Pearce is like, have you considered human suffering? And he's like, fuck.
Now that you bring it up, I've actually been struggling with this a lot.
Yeah.
And he breaks down practically.
Yeah. So then he like lets Guy Pearce go, and he's like, all right, so like, you're going to go kill Ives. That's fine. One thing that you got to do before you do that is please kill me.
Yeah.
And I love this scene. I think Jeffrey Jones as I said, unfortunately is great in this movie. And I do think Jeffrey Jones being like, please kill me, please make it quick, but I do not want to be alive anymore, is like a legitimately great moment in this movie. And also it's hilarious to watch Jeffrey Jones beg for death.
I do really like watching this fat piece of shit get his throat cut.
Yes, this fat pedophile just get his carotid sliced.
The other thing I love, because we talked about the blood already.
Yeah.
It's like a blurry glass window.
Yeah.
And we see Robert Carlyle, the blood spray across the window, and through the window we see Robert Carlyle walk up. And I think we get maybe one or two shots of Robert Carlyle outside his perspective. But he walks up with this sense of like curiosity,
right? He's what the fuck's going on in there? But
he's like almost like a childlike curiosity.
Yeah,
he's amused by it.
Yeah,
he's kind of amused by the blood across the window.
Yeah,
he's like, let's see what's going on over here. I really like the way that he plays that.
Yeah, and you kind of get the impression when he sees what has gone down that he doesn't really mind this as long as he can get Guy Pearce back on his side, because it feels like this relationship between Robert Carlyle and Guy Pearce feels like it has always been the end game for Robert Carlyle. I think so. Right? He's like, the Jeffrey Jones thing, like, great, like that guy can either be here or not. I really don't give a shit. I'm after you, motherfucker.
I think from the moment when they're on the
mountain,
the passive carrot thrust.
Yeah.
There's a fellow voice on the air.
It's Saruman. Yeah.
When
I love when Christopher Lee's on top of that tower just spouting bullshit. Anyway, what they should have done is, instead of going to Robert Carlyle's cave, they should have just gone through the mines.
I don't know, Balrog versus
cannibal Robert Carlyle.
Robert Carlyle.
You probably stand a better chance against Robert Carlyle than a Balrog.
I think so. When he's up there on that mountain, when Guy Pearce asks him about what it was like to eat a person, he immediately is like, "Oh, you're going to be my project."
Yeah, right. He's like, I can fix him.
Yeah.
Or the inverse of that. I can fuck him up.
Yeah,
which I feel like is an underrated relationship dynamic. I feel like I can fix him gets all the love. I can fuck him up is like a real sleeper hit.
I can corrupt this little boy and turn him into a cannibal.
Let me take this little let me take this little straight boy and flip him. Anyway. But yeah, so Robert Carlyle here is like, he things turn into basically like slasher cat and mouse chase pretty quick, but it does feel like there's a little bit of tension here too, where Robert Carlyle's still like, maybe I can game this out. Nah, never mind, it's not happening, and then like, so there's like an initial skirmish and Robert Carlyle retreats, and then he does the fucking hardest thing of all time, which is paints a fucking Ash Wednesday cross on his forehead in human blood. And there is no reason narratively for him to do this, but it fucking whips
and he's
ass
like
visually.
There's like fire behind him too.
Yeah, he's Dracula in this movie. He just turns into the devil at the end of the movie.
Yeah, and
not like in any kind of physical transformation, but it's like he's wearing like a big red like cloak, and he like puts the fucking blood cross on his forehead and is like, all these shots, he's like, so the background is flames and shit. It's very like satanic imagery in a way that I think is really dope. Also, it ties into a thing, because I think Robert Carlyle as symbol of European colonization of the Americas in this movie, the cross kind of feeds into that, and the Catholic imagery has been invoked earlier when George is talking about the Wendigo to Jeffrey Jones, And he's like, this is a spirit that is connected to cannibalism and stuff. And Jeffrey Jones is like, well, people don't really eat people anymore, do they, George? And George is like, the white man eats the flesh of Christ every Sunday, right? So he's basically like, you're the fucking cannibals, dog. Like, you're the Wendigo spirits.
Yeah, sounds like the fucking Reddit, the 16-year-old Reddit atheist
right.
argument.
I feel like that is. It feels like that statement has a little bit more heft to it, coming from a Native American than from a Reddit atheist.
Good point. Good point.
But yeah, I like that comment from George kind of coming back in the like Ash Wednesday imagery of the cross on Robert Carlyle's head at the end, because it's like, yeah, he's sort of a symbol of like European colonization, which of course like wielded Christianity as a weapon against the Native Americans, and it feels like it is making that point visually and doesn't call it out textually at all, which I think is the thing I really respect about that element of the movie. Sort of the critique of Christianity's connection to colonialism is a very light spice in this movie.
Yeah, I mean,
instead of hitting you over the head.
You can kind of just watch this as a genre movie and have fun with it that way. And if there's if you want to dig into those themes, you can dig into them. I felt, at least on this watch, that like I did want a little bit more of it. Because some of that stuff I think is conveyed visually, but if there was a thing that I wanted developed a little bit further in this movie, was just making that manifest destiny theme and a little bit clearer.
Yeah.
And exploring it a little bit more heavily.
Yeah. Yeah. I can feel that.
But I also, I don't think you're wrong about the way it's represented visually with Robert Carlyle's look. And if it ain't anything else, it is like, yeah, he is basically turning into the devil here. It is this kind of thematic transformation of this character into something a little bit more mythic.
Yeah.
That, like Dracula, like the devil.
Yeah. Yeah. And, right. So then there's the big showdown fight between the two of them. Guy Pearce I love the moment where Guy Pearce is like looking for him and he's like spinning around, like, where the fuck is he? And there's like images of like flames and Robert Carlyle's face like just flashing on the screen. And then he eventually finds him. Robert Carlyle like crashes through the ceiling and attacks him. And Guy Pearce is fighting with a sword. Robert Carlyle is like swinging logs at him and shit. And really quickly, the fight just kind of devolves into like a brawl. And Guy Pearce is like, hitting Robert Carlyle with like improvised weapons. He's just grabbing stuff and hitting him with it. And it just, it becomes like a real dirty fight, which I really like. And they're both getting fucked up. Like, they both get wounded so many times in this fight.
And Guy Pearce gets stabbed in the back.
Yeah.
And it's the knife. It looks like a ceremonial knife. It looks like, it doesn't look like something that like the army would be issuing as standard issue to its soldiers.
Yeah. It's like a little fancy.
It's sort of ornate. Yeah. And Guy Pearce just has this knife hanging out of his back. And then the roof of the structure that they're in collapses on Robert Carlyle, and Guy Pearce walks away. And immediately I'm like, that didn't fucking kill him.
No, yeah,
you idiot, that didn't.
It looks
do
like
anything.
a pretty weak roof cave-in, but you also realize that like Guy Pearce didn't count on that killing him. He had a backup plan, because earlier we see Guy Pearce notice the big bear trap.
Yeah,
I cannot stress enough, viewers who have not seen Ravenous, how big this fucking bear trap is.
Massive.
This is the biggest bear trap that I think I've ever seen in a movie. The diameter of this thing is probably at least 3.5 feet. It's crazy.
When they're both lying on the ground near the bear trap, and Guy Pearce has to physically move Robert Carlyle's body to trigger the plate to get it to close.
Yeah. Less of a bear trap and more of an elephant trap,
really.
I don't know if there were woolly mammoths in the Sierras in the 1840s.
What were they hunting out there?
Yeah, moose maybe? I don't know. I know moose get real big. So Robert Carlyle comes out of the wreckage and walks in, and the fight resumes, but they're both really fucked up. So it's basically just two guys who are on the verge of death trying to strangle each other. And then Guy Pearce, knocks Robert Carlyle to the ground, uses his body to activate the bear trap, and it just snaps shut on both of them. And David, when I tell you, you know how you applaud and say, "Yay, good movie," sometimes when a movie does something that you like? I didn't quite do that, but I think I was smiling as big as Dead Reich when this happened in this movie, where I was just like, oh, baby. I really love this finale. I think it's fantastic.
I love the bear trap closing on both of them. The thing with it is like the spikes on the bear trap aren't that big.
Yeah.
And it is two guys. I was hoping it would be like really clean, like just it snaps shut, kills both of them, and they both die.
Yeah.
And they bleed out for a while, but I also don't know if the wounds are that big, because it's like you got two guys wedged in this thing.
Yeah.
It doesn't really close all the way. I wanted like a nice clean, like the bear trap closes all the way.
Bisected. Yeah.
I think we needed what I'm saying is I think we needed an even bigger, more impractical bear trap to really make this scene work.
David's note: bear trap not big enough.
I needed going back to the Lord of the Rings thing. Like
the bigger mace.
What if it was like Sauron, a bear trap designed by the armies of Mordor?
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
Like give it giant spikes, make it huge.
Yeah,
and have it crush both of them.
Yeah, like Peter Jackson with the Witch King's flail,
Yeah.
which I'm sure you know the thing where like they brought the flail to set, and he was like, "It's not big enough; it needs to be bigger."
Yeah, they just went crazy with it. Yeah.
And then they kept it, and they were like, "Surely, we're gonna bring it in this time," and he's gonna say it's too big, and he was like, "Bigger." Yeah. So they both get sandwiched in this bear trap. It's very homoerotic. And they're dying sort of with Guy Pearce's head kind of on Robert Carlyle's chest. And Robert Carlyle's basically like, hey, man, like one of us is going to die first. And if you die first, I'm going to eat the fuck out of you. And then I'm going to get out of this bear trap. So you better figure out your plan, motherfucker. Which I love that moment. As Guy Pearce is dying, Robert Carlyle is still the devil in his ear.
Yeah.
Being like, there's one way out of this motherfucker for one of us, you know,
I hope
if
that's
we
how
want
we
it.
die.
Yeah. Sandwiched in a big bear trap.
Mm-hmm.
Me too. That would be great. Yeah. And then, you know, my wife can keep all my material possessions. But the one sort of gripe that I have about this moment is that I kind of think we get the point when Robert Carlyle does his whole thing and is like, bon appetit, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we cut back to the general eating some stew, and then we cut back to the bear trap again, and he says more stuff. And I'm like, I don't know if we needed to return to this.
Yeah, I think what we could have done is like have them play out the scene where they die. Then the general shows up and eats the stew as like a little button, and then we cut to credits.
Yeah, but instead we cut back, and Robert Carlyle does a little bit more of the same type of thing.
Right.
And but then the thing that I am glad is included is Robert Carlyle delivers a fucking all-timer death rattle.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Every breath that's left in this man's body leaves.
He expels everything in his lungs. And like this death rattle goes on for like I would wager it's like 14 to 16 uninterrupted seconds of death rattle. And I was like, that is amazing that he was able to pull that off. What a great actor. And what a great death rattle. I love it. I love hearing it. So he dies, and then Guy Pearce is still alive, and you kind of see the same moment that he had with the stew and with Reich. It's like echoing those other moments earlier in the movie. And Martha comes in.
Yeah, where he's thinking about what if he should eat him or not.
Yes, and Martha comes up to the door and sees kind of his last moment, and he chooses not to do it, right? And I like that Martha is present, because the conversation earlier with Martha about how to stop a Wendigo, and she's like, there's no way to stop it, you have to die, her being present for that last moment really like calls back to that without you having to say anything.
Yeah.
You know? And he chooses death. He chooses to kill the Wendigo by not eating Robert Carlyle and just like dying instead. And we get a great little pull-out shot on the two of their bodies in the bear trap, which reminded me of the final shot of a movie that came out this year, Bring Her Back. And I was like, oh, Ravenous did the Bring Her Back thing before Bring Her Back did. Because the last shot of Bring Her Back is the bodies in the pool.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I forgot that.
Yeah, that's all right. Yeah, it's the lady and her daughter from the freezer
Yeah.
holding their body in the pool.
Okay.
Anyway.
That's Ravenous.
That's Ravenous. And Damon Albarn is, to be clear, continuing to just be on fire in these final moments and in the credits.
Justus is Ravenous, the greatest movie ever made.
David, I am so happy that I picked this movie for a random slot in our programming. This movie had been sort of the habitual slot filler that kept getting bumped. And
Yeah, we had this on the docket for the winter months a couple of times beforehand.
yes.
Great winter movie. Great,
Yeah,
great
yes.
cold, chilly movie.
Yes, and a thing that we didn't really talk about in this movie that does play into my verdict is I think this movie is also gorgeous. I
Yeah.
think this movie is beautiful. There is, I think, the mountain stuff was shot in Slovakia, and just gorgeous nature photography of the Slovakian mountains in a lot of this movie, standing in for the Sierra Nevadas. And we already talked about some of the other visual stuff, but I think the nature photography bears a call out, because I was watching this movie and I was kind of like, this is like better than The Revenant. Like, this is shooting like pine forests and mountains and cliffs better than like The Revenant did, you know, which was sort of my favorite thing about that movie. And yeah, great winter movie, lots of great snow stuff. Is it the greatest movie ever made? I feel like this movie has been done a disservice by being bumped from our programming, and I'm so glad that we finally got around to it, because finally watching this movie without knowing what to expect, I was fucking delighted. I don't know if it surprises you at all, because I feel like this is a really Justice movie, but like I fucked with this so hard. I don't know if you clocked that while you were watching it, that I was going to fuck with it so hard, but I really, really did. I love Robert Carlyle, obviously one of my favorites. Continues every performance I see from him that I haven't seen before just solidifies my opinion that he's like one of our greatest living actors. I fucking think he's phenomenal, and he's like really chewing scenery and grips in this movie, and I love it. I think Guy Pearce is great. I think as little as he's in the movie, David Arquette is great. You know, great ensemble cast across the board. Great score, weird, offbeat, experimental score that I think really fits the movie and gave me a lot to think about thematically, while also, crucially, being a ton of fucking fun. Like, this movie moves and is fun and also has shit to say. And I can't believe I hadn't seen this movie before, and I think it's one of my new favorites, and it's the greatest movie ever made. David, is Ravenous the greatest movie ever made?
I'm going to do the thing that I've done a few times on this show before.
Yeah.
Where I'm going to say no because I need to watch it again.
That's fine. Yeah.
I
respect that.
I agree with basically everything that you said. I think not knowing what this movie had in store for me and the ride that it took me on took a little bit to warm up to, but once I was there, I was really into what this movie had on offer. The performances are great. Guy Pearce is great in this movie. Once again, he is playing a largely wordless performance, so in some ways he's outshined by the other actors, just like in The Proposition.
Right.
But
in this movie, he has a sexy little sweater.
But you know, the ensemble in this movie is great. Robert Carlyle's just a fucking delight. Also, much like The Proposition, a lot of fucked up teeth in this movie.
Oh yeah, yeah. Not as much as The Proposition.
No, I think The Proposition might be the Guinness World Record holder in that regard. This movie's fascinating to me. There's such a fascinating juxtaposition of tones and genres that this thing's playing with, where it finds this weird little special niche in between campier horror movies and more serious, grounded revisionist westerns. It finds this weird little niche and it just fucking owns it.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate that. Damon Albarn's score is bizarre and bewildering. And I was thinking about it while I was watching it, as the movie was going on, and the score became more and more overbearing in the as far as the experience went. And I was like, would this movie be better with a more traditional score? And the conclusion I came to was no.
I completely agree. I think the score is perfect for the movie.
Yeah.
In its weirdness.
Yeah. And the twists and turns that this thing has in store, the homoerotic subtext that of course can be interpreted in very different ways by very different people. We've already talked about that a little bit. I won't harp on it any further, but it's a really interesting aspect to this film. The larger themes of colonialism and colonial violence are really compelling too. I just wish they maybe had been explored further. But I had a really fucking fun time watching this movie. I just think the circumstances surrounding me watching it, I haven't been in a great mood. Other things have been on my mind. And I'm kind of bummed that I crammed it in last minute while I was distracted and had other things going on. So I need to sit on this one a bit and then just watch it again pretty soon. So
yeah,
I'm going to let it percolate for a little bit. But I recommend the fuck out of this movie.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen it, and you probably haven't, because
it's a lesser known.
It was a box office bomb, you know?
A little bit of a cult resurgence, but not anywhere on the level of even some of the other movies we've talked about, like From Dusk Till Dawn, which is a big cult favorite. And it's like, this, I think, deserves a bigger cult reputation than it has.
And I think even if you're not a horror fan or a fan of westerns, I think you'd fuck with this. Like, and I was thinking about the violence too, because it's gory and disturbing, but I don't know that it is in a way that would be off-putting to like the average person. Maybe
I agree with that. I kind of think this is a movie that even a non-horror fan could probably stomach. There's a lot of blood in it, but kind of the way that it is stylized and cut around sort of does make it a little bit more palatable, I think.
Yeah.
And even the more disturbing themes, I feel like it's like the movie knows just the right amount to delve into disturbing territory before pulling back or delivering a joke to lighten the mood up a little bit. So it is like really, it's always a really entertaining watch, and it never gets like too bleak or punishing.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah.
Bleak is a good word. Because I was thinking about, I've been doing a lot of double features lately and trying to like pair things thematically and like doing the serious one and then the funny one. And I was wondering what I would pair this with, because my original thought was like, well, Bone Tomahawk.
Right. Yeah.
But Bone Tomahawk is
He's way more punishing.
And much more of like, you have to be a Western fan to enjoy that movie, I think.
Yeah.
So I wasn't sure what I would pair this with in the end, but maybe Nightmare on Elm Street too.
Yeah.
Because of the gay thing.
I would also, we already talked about it, but I would pair this definitely with Interview with a Vampire. I think if you watched Ravenous and Interview with a Vampire right after one after another, you would be sitting pretty. Because both of them are about like two gay dudes who are turned on by eating people, and like one of them is just maybe a little too into it, and the other one's like, I don't know if I'm here for this level of intensity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's Ravenous. Thanks for picking this. I'm glad we finally did it. Like
me
you
too.
said, like,
me too. I'm so happy I've seen this movie now.
And
I said, new favorite for me. So.
And I had wanted to see it for years and always forgot about it. And I'm glad that it. I'm glad that it delivered, dude.
Dog shit poster though.
The poster that's on Wikipedia sucks.
It's so bad. And I think that was the main poster. I think that was like its primary theatrical poster, the one with the big mouth. Yeah, that poster sucks ass.
Yeah. The one on Letterboxd that just has the guys' heads and skulls, that's a little bit better.
I still don't love that one, but
No.
it is better. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, bad poster, good movie. You can do the outro this time. I've been stealing it from you.
Thanks for listening. Please spread the word about the show. Follow us on social media at TGMEM_podcast on your Instagrams and your TikToks, although we haven't been posting on TikTok that much recently.
Right.
Instagram is probably the best place to keep in touch with us. If you have a movie that you'd like to recommend to us, send us an email at thegreatestmoviepodcast@gmail.com, and we will add it to the schedule, although it'll be next year.
Yeah.
Because there's not that many weeks left in this year.
Yeah. Speaking of that, what are we talking about next week, David?
Next week, he was our first three-peat director.
Yes.
As is the case with him often, he is beating his own record by becoming our first four-peat director.
He is just forging new ground. Yeah.
Because James motherfucking Cameron is back once again.
Big Jim.
To swing his big dick around. And we're going to be talking about the highest grossing film of all time, Avatar.
Abada. I'm trying to get all that Abada out now so that I'm not doing it on the episode.
Come on. That's not going to happen.
Right, yeah.
Yes.
This is Abada.
We're going to take off to the planet of Pandora and hang out with Jake Sully and the Blue People.
Yeah.
And we're talking about the original Avatar from 2009. I think it's 2009. I don't remember.
Yeah, I think 2009. Yeah.
Yes. It made over $2 billion, but doesn't have any cultural impact.
According to fucking dork-ass nerds.
You've only seen it when it came out. You've only seen it the one time?
I've seen it twice.
You've seen it twice?
I watched it one other time.
Okay.
But not in the lead up to Way of Water.
Okay.
I watched it once in theaters and then once, I think, like a couple of years later.
Okay, so you'll be coming back to this one.
Yeah, for first time in a long time for
okay.
me. Like over 10 years since I saw Avatar 1.
Okay.
But I am excited to dive into the origin of the adventures of beloved characters Jake Sully and Neytiri. Unfortunately, no Payakan, the mighty Tolkien in this one.
No Payakan, the exiled Tolkien.
Yeah.
But it seems like we're gonna get a lot of Payakan and Fire and Ash, buddy.
Yeah.
Based on those trailers,
baby.
we got a lot of fucking space whales.
My boy Payakan. I can't wait.
So join us next week on what will probably be another 3-hour James Cameron episode as we talk about Avatar. Thanks for hanging out. And again, please spread the word about the show. We love you guys so much. And until we see you next week, later dipshits.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of The Greatest Movie Ever Made. Please remember to leave us a rating and a review and to subscribe to the show wherever you listen. We appreciate you supporting the show and spreading the word. Tell your friends to listen. Tell your enemies to listen. Tell your mom to listen. If your neighbor has an unsecured Bluetooth speaker, connect to it and play an episode. You can follow us on social media at TGMEM_podcast. And if you've got a movie that you want us to talk about, send us an email at thegreatestmoviepodcast@gmail.com.